Hey all, welcome back to the channel. It is another beautiful day here in Washington State. Thought I'd bring you a real talk. It has been a long time since I've done one of these, and yeah, I wanted to give you guys an update on one of my most used and abused reels. And yeah, let's talk about it. Today we're going to be talking about the Shimano Sahara. Give you guys some looks at it. Handsome reel. Great color scheme. But that's not what's important. So, I got this thing 2 years ago, 2 years and some change ago, and picked it up at my local sporting goods store for, I think it was around 75 bucks. Which isn't too bad, under the $100 mark for a good spinning reel that's going to last you a couple years. Yeah, so I initially bought this thing to pair up with a ultralight rod, and it worked great. It worked great at that setup. And I started getting a little bit into salmon fishing with my buddy Jake, Bainbridge Bass Fishing, who will be back on the channel at some point. He's just been real busy, so yeah, if you're missing Bainbridge Bass Fishing, so am I. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing well, and hope to see you soon. But anyways, yeah, this was initially for the ultralight setup. But as we transition from trout season, which is usually winter, at least for me, you know, I only chase trout when the bass aren't biting. That's kind of how I operate. But yeah, so when we hit the off season for trout, I paired this up to a Shimano spinning rod and used this as my dedicated wacky rig setup, fishing for bass, obviously. But yeah, it was my dedicated, and continues to be my dedicated wacky rig reel. Now this reel has some shortcomings. Let's talk about those real quick. I want to get those out on the table. Couple shortcomings. Let's talk line capacity. Not great. You know, it's a small spool. It's a 1000 size spool. It's what Shimano calls a 1000 size spool. So it is what it is. You know, line capacity is not going to be the best. Next thing is drag. This thing does not have that much drag. It's great for ultralight applications, but as far as like bass fishing or even trying to use this to chase some salmon like pinks or, you know, some of the smaller salmon, which this thing has done, chased some pinks last year with this thing, and it did great. But you really got to crank the drag down. It's really meant as an ultralight reel, I think. But I enjoy the way it fishes so much that I continue to use it for heavier applications. Third negative I think I would touch on here is gear ratio. I think this is 5:3 to 1 or 5:6 to 1, something like that. I'm not 100% sure because it's not written on the reel, but that's what it feels like to me. I'm going to go ahead and be comfortable saying it's like 5:6 to 1 or something like that, which isn't horrible, but you know, the other spinning reel I have is a 6:2 to 1, so there's that big difference right there. I mean, the 6:2 to 1 screams in line, and this thing is just kind of chugging along. But yeah, it's a good reel. Overall, really is a good reel. I have absolutely no qualms suggesting this to anybody that wants to use it for bass fishing, you know, like finesse bass fishing, which is wacky rigging really, and you know, like drop shotting. It'd be great for drop shotting, stuff like that. This reel is gonna be great, and you're gonna get a lot of life out of it. That's the take home here for me, is that I've had this thing for over 2 years. I fished it in the saltwater and not rinsed it off like an idiot, and it just keeps going. It's not as smooth as it once was, but it still goes. You know, it still goes. Yeah. So my typical line setup on here, when I had it on the ultralight, it was a 4-pound test. 4-pound test, fluorocarbon. There we go. Right now, and well, ever since bass season started, it's been 15-pound braid on here, 15-pound Power Pro braid to a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader, and that's been a great setup for bass fishing, for wacky rigging, and yeah, it's just been great. I've been a bit stuck on the wacky rig this season. I just have a ton of confidence in it for some reason, and I've been doing really well on it this season. That doesn't help. Yeah, I can't seem to put it down, but I'm working on that. Anyways, back to the reel. Yeah, so talking about the drag a little more, it does have a lot of adjustability, very fine adjustability. So if you're using this thing for like trout or lighter applications, it's going to be great. But it's when you really need to crank down the drag, you really got to crank down the drag almost to where you lock the reel. And, you know, that's not ideal. So take that for what you will. Initially, I was worried about the bail arm being a little flimsy and a little skinny. But really, I'm trying to get it to flex. It flexes a bit. Obviously, it's gonna, but not as much as I thought it would. And yeah, it's held up. It's held up well. We'll go ahead and take the spool off and see what things look like underneath after 2.5 years. To be honest, I haven't done any service to this reel. None at all. No grease, no oil. It's just been through it, and it continues to go. So, taking off the spool, we got no corrosion going on. Everything looks as it should. The gears are intact, which is awesome. Yeah. Solid reel, guys, for 75 bucks. I think it is well worth it. Comparable reels would be Daiwa Regal, Daiwa Legalis. I'm sure Lew's. There's some Lew's options out there. But me, I like Shimano. I like Shimano a lot, and I like Daiwa. Those are my two brands, and that's what I've got for reels. So, all right, I really hope you enjoyed this short video about the Shimano Sahara. It will continue to fish until it breaks, and when it does, if it does, I'll update you guys then. But until then, I'm going to keep on fishing it. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for the continued support on the channel. It really means a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully it is on the water.